What's up, everyone? Welcome to Artists in the City, where we introduce the newest and hardest artists in your city. Today we have Bermeo in the house. What is up, Bermeo?
What up? What up? I'm happy. I'm in that category. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, like it is literally so hot outside. Thank you for coming all the way.
No, I was sweating bullets coming here. So yeah, I needed to relax, take a breather. So thank you for giving me a moment. You know, we have our
Non-sponsored beer.
Yes. Until we get that sponsor, we ain't promoting nobody. So you got blue, I got red. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, for the listeners, could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, my name is Adrian Bermeo. I'm born and raised in Jackson Heights, Queens, and I'm a visual artist and curator that's been going full time for a few years. And I like to be covered in paint, and as you see,
As you can see, yeah.
and I definitely appreciate and enjoy the community that I'm in, and you're a part of that. So I'm just happy to be talking about art with you today.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have you. How was your day, though?
It was good. I actually have a show coming up later this week in Tribeca with Ohio Mike. So by the time you see this, it might be down, but you can always follow myself or Ohio Mike to see the different things that we're doing separately or together. And we're curating a show together with 13 artists called Kinetic Scripts. And so today I was hanging the show with some other people there, and I had a good time. So I ran.
No, I mean, we'll make sure to have it out before the show ends, though. It ends in September, right?
No. This one ends August 1st, and then I have another one from July 26th to September 13th, and that's an Afro Latinx mixtape, which is in Jamaica Center for Arts and Learning. I'm very excited for that one too.
Oh, so tell us about the Afro Latin mixtape show.
Yeah, so I got involved with Jamaica Center for Arts and Learning, which has been around since the 70s, and it's in Jamaica, Queens, and it was founded by artists, and now they have a beautiful initiative to work with outside curators such as myself. And I was the lucky few that got chosen to propose a show for 2 months, and my show is basically highlighting the importance and the resilience of Afro and Latina music. So all the genres that you could think of under this umbrella that ultimately ties to the African continent. That's just what I want to talk about, because I love good music and soulful music, and a lot of it comes from the drums.
So would the art be inspired by the music?
Yes. So there's some art that's inspired by jazz, by rumba, cumbia, reggaeton, dembow. There are things that are inspired by reggae or specific artists like Celia Cruz or Fela Kuti. So all the artists that are in this show, I think it's also, this one I think is 15 artists, but it's in a nice big space, and we're gonna mix it up with sculpture, film, painting. And it's all tied to ultimately the music that's speaking for our ancestors or communities.
That's super exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a show on our show that's solely inspired by music. It's pretty novel concept to me, at least.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I try to think of things that I would like to do personally. So if I'm proposing or thinking of a group show or thinking of bringing people on, it's definitely something that I would want to be doing. And I think that as a curator who also is a visual artist, I'm kind of thinking about those things. So I'm just happy to be able to bring people together through that. And for music, that's a universal language. So by the time you hear this, the show might be on. The opening is the 26th, and the closing, which will have live music, is on September 13th. So please be on the lookout for that.
That sounds super exciting.
Thank you.
Are you, you're both curator and a painter, right?
Yes.
How is being a curator different from being a painter?
I think that definitely as a curator, you have to kind of organize and we're opening our non-sponsored business.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Not
Thank you. Bermeo. I don't know. Yeah.
Thank you, Bermeo.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I should just put like Bermeo on this. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think that as a curator, I actually did get inspired by Ohio Mike, which is something that I've always made public, and he knows that. Close people around me know that because Ohio Mike.
Shout out to Ohio Mike.
Yes. We should have him on the show too. But he definitely put together an awesome show that was just a sticker themed show, and everybody just flooded the space with stickers, and it brought a community together that nobody really saw face to face, and a whole bunch of people just came together. A lot of people met in that show at the Ohio Mike Sticker Derby, and I was so inspired by how everybody came together with such a simple concept, but everyone was like-minded in that sense as an artist. So I said, you know what, I want to start organizing my own shows because a lot of people close doors on you. And when that happens, you got to start creating your own doors and opening your own doors. So that's where I'm at as a curator.
What do you mean by a lot of people close doors on you, though?
So there's a lot of food critics that don't cook.
Okay.
Yeah. So as a visual artist, I've literally had people tell me in my face like, "That's not good," or "That's not going to work," or this and that.
Wait. To your face, that like your art is not good?
Probably, yeah.
Oh.
I get no's every day. I don't count them.
Hey, bitches, fuck you.
Yeah. No, you have to get a ton of no's until you get that yes. Otherwise, you're just dreaming and talking about what you're gonna do. So I really want to make that clear. Like you have to throw yourself in the deep end and get those no's. And in the beginning, when I was trying to arrive as a visual artist, I would literally just walk into galleries and say, "Hey, how can I be a part of this?" And they looked at me like I was a psycho, like I had 5 heads. Yeah.
I think I've experienced it before. Like I would like go to some galleries and try to talk to the curator or someone who is in charge of the gallery. They'd be like, "Who are you?"
Right. And
I don't want to know.
Yeah. And to their credit, I understand they probably get approached by crazy people like us all the time. I get that. So but it got to the point where I said, no, I have something worthy of organizing and showing, at least in my mind. So I the only way you're going to know is by trying. So even as an artist, the only way you're going to know if you're good or not is by showing your art. You can't just be at home painting and drawing without showing it. Yeah, mic drop.
That's some truth that you're dropping right now.
I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep dropping truth.
Please.
Yeah. No, but really, because there were years that I was painting at home, and my hardwood floors were destroyed with paint, but nobody saw it, so I couldn't really gauge how people were gonna respond. So nobody's gonna know about your art until you show it. So you need to break that shell for yourself. And some people have management. Some people have people that do that for them and do the talking for them, and that's all beautiful. But I do it for myself, and I do the talking for myself, and I try to get that out.
So what you're saying is that curating is basically creating your own reality and building the community that you want to be in.
A part of it, yes, but I really do. I do enjoy curating for the artists, which sometimes the spaces are not ready to hear, because if I'm organizing multiple, visual artists and maybe a live music element or a DJ, I'm really thinking about the people involved in creating that experience, because the audience is going to feel it. They're going to see it. If I'm just catering to one thing, it's not going to come out the way that I would like it to come out. So I really do want to do it for the artists, because I'm coming to them as a painter. Like, look, I understand, or I can give you my 2 cents, So I only want to work with people that are open-minded and will trust me, or that understand that, I'm looking out for them, because sometimes in the art world, people will shaft you or put you to the shelf.
But like, we are here to promote nobody but you.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
tell us about your painting. Like, how would you? We don't see any painting.
Yeah.
But like, we'll put it right
Let's
here.
do a flash, like placatao, 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 like, just a few pieces. Yeah. So
How would you describe it?
yes, I usually tell people really quickly that I'm somewhere in between abstract and graffiti because my roots are in graffiti. So when people try to ask me what are your influences or whatever, they will try to put me in a box or throw names. And at the end of the day, it's always appreciated, or yes, I understand you're comparing me to somebody well known or whatever. But at the end of the day, my forefathers are graffiti, so those are the roots or the mindset that's putting this train where I'm going. And yeah, it's graffiti at the end of the day.
Any graffiti fathers that you look up to?
Nah, I can't say. I'll say all the homies that I came up with, because they're the reasons why I was jumping off rooftops and doing things that people in this art world can't imagine. But I will say that that graffiti got me on that path of trying to paint for myself and do things at home. And when you see my work, there is some kind of element of graffiti, or that rawness. When people say, "Yo, that looks like New York," and it's because of the roots in it. I can't detach from that.
You know how like 1980s New York is the Basquiat, Keith Haring, Andy Warhol times, and the 1990s and 2000 is the graffiti times. And then I've been to gallery in Paris one time, and it was all about New York graffiti. And then they will like take some like some random wall and ship it to Paris, and then have a really like nicely curated books about graffiti and how it's like really well looked up to. And it's really cool that like you have such a like influence to your work.
Yeah, and I'm at the end of the day, I'm kind of conflicted about that, because people want to say graffiti art, or they want to compare it or group it together in street art and stuff like that. And I think that murals and certain paintings, excuse me, that are meant to be displayed, and it's not really like an illegal activity, because at the end of the day, graffiti is an illegal activity. It's still a felony in New York City, in the birthplace. So all the people that are doing graffiti around the world, from a New Yorker, you're welcome. And all I gotta say is that like it's still an illegal activity. So when I see graffiti in commercials, in ads, in branding, to me it's very counterintuitive. I don't know. It's kind of a double meaning, a double-edged sword, or because if a brand wants to use graffiti for their logo on a can or something like that, or in their billboard, but if I do it, I get arrested or I get a fine or something like that. So I think that it's a slippery slope with graffiti, because at the end of the day, graffiti started and should belong in the street, but it is nice to have it at home, in the elements of being able to appreciate it. So that's why I'm a little in this weird limbo space.
I mean, that's your birthplace, but like that doesn't mean that you'll be there the whole time.
Yeah. And I don't want to, there's a lot of graffiti writers that are very, into this way, and that's the culture. And I'm a little more on the fine arts side, using the graffiti elements that like I kind of am used to. So I still like to paint. I'll paint flowers. If somebody wants to commission me to paint flowers, I'll paint flowers.
I want to see your flowers. Have you ever seen your flowers?
I've done some flying flowers.
Flying flowers?
Yeah, they have wings because they're leaving Earth, because Earth is getting messed up,
When I think about your work, I always think about your character.
Which one, Dorian, the one with the teeth?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of my oldest characters. I think I was doing him since 2003. I want to say 2004, and people who know me very well have seen Dorian stick with me and grow and evolve. And if you don't know, Dorian is a very simple face character always has a hat. Since I'm always rocking a hat, my characters usually end up having a hat, and it's a very loopy mouth with teeth showing. And yeah, I've been drawing him and painting him for a while, and he doesn't really come out that much in the paintings, but a lot of times he's behind the canvas. Like I draw him behind the canvas, so when people buy a piece, they might see Dorian like behind there.
Oh, yeah, like a surprise little art.
There's a little character, yeah. Like sometimes I draw or paint behind the canvas, and people won't see that. Yeah.
So I have commitment issue, all right?
Okay.
So not only for man or like relationship, but also like genres. Like I can't stick to one thing. That's my issue. Okay. How did you get to find Dorian and thinking that I want to stick with this character? Like, did it just come to you all the time?
So one big transition from like doing letters into painting, officially painting on canvas, was characters. So I would always be the one doing the characters if I was doing black books and stuff like that. So Dorian was just one of many characters, but he's the only one that survived, and stuck with me. And actually his name comes from I used to be a teenager at this after school program, and there was a kid named Dorian who was kind of a bad kid but just misunderstood, and I related to him so much. And his name was Dorian. He's the only person in my life that I've met named Dorian at that time. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting name. And I ended up naming my character after that kid.
Adorable.
I guess, yeah. I hope he's not in jail. Yeah.
I hope he's all right.
Yeah, I hope he's all right. Yeah. But yeah, I that's legit. Sometimes people say, "Oh, Dorian Gray." I'm like, no, it's not that. It's deeper than that. Yeah. Woodside Projects. But I definitely I would always draw characters, and then I started painting the characters and making them the subject of these paintings. So that was a good transition. Or I would just do an abstract background and just leave it like that. So yeah, characters were the transition.
I almost, back then when I had money, I almost bought the piece that you did with Cinco.
Which one? Because we did a whole show.
I know you guys did a whole show, like a big time gay shit, but
it was like 50 something pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, but like one of the pieces I was like looking into was the Dorian character, and very much like I wanted to get something iconic. I saw the piece and it was very iconic because it was the character and Cinco's like style. And
I think it was the drone. Like he had there was a drone above, and Dorian had hands. Yeah, because we mixed styles, and Dorian was one of those.
Yeah,
I think I know which one you're talking about.
And I became more broke, so I didn't get to buy it. But that collaboration was really memorable for me.
Yeah, no, I love that show. That was the first time that I remember proposing that to Cinco, and I said I want to collaborate on something, and he thought I just meant one piece, and I said no, I want to do a show like that. He said, oh, you want to do a show? All right.
You loved him that much?
I didn't even know him. Yeah, no, I remember that I wanted to do it with somebody that I knew our styles were similar, but far enough that you can kind of tell the difference. And for some reason, it was just the right place, right time. I think we were both in the show. But I remember I met him. Ohio Mike actually had like a solo show somewhere in Brooklyn, and I specifically told Cinco, meet me at this show because I need to talk to you about something.
Whoa!
And we had a drink after, and we sat and we talked, and that was like the winter of 2022. And then by February 2023, that's when we had the show. And
you had a whole documentary about it.
Yes, and I know that's another thing that's been crazy in the last year, and I really don't know enough information. But rest in peace to Steven Liriano, because he was present when Cinco and I were painting, and he was even there. Like he slept over my house while we were painting these things, and he just quickly just vanished.
Yeah, we don't know what happened, but like I remember how hot he was. He was hot. And
He was
great energy.
he looked like a successful, good-looking, happy-go-lucky guy.
Yeah, and then like he was able to capture the collaborative moment with you and Cinco, and I was at the documentary showing, and it was very memorable.
Right.
Mhm.
And it really, yeah, I think that for anybody listening, I think that the takeaway is that you never really know how people are feeling until you ask them, and you can't just assume that everybody is doing well mentally. And I think that we should always be asking the basic questions. How are you feeling? Not just what do you do, or what did you do today, or what are you doing tonight. It's just like, no, how are you feeling? Like, what's going on? Because that's a little more important than how much money we make and what do we do for a living.
Did he take away his life?
That's what I thought.
Oh, I did not know about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wrote about how much I want to be killed by a man that I love.
No. Don't do it. Yeah. He's not worth it, girl. Don't do it. Oh my God.
I'm like, what I was thinking was that like how great love is. That means you can kill your partner anytime. You're sleeping next to them.
Oh yeah, no, that thought has crossed my mind in the sense that it could happen.
It could happen.
Not that I want to, do that. But you have to really trust somebody to be sharing the same space, and there's like knives in the kitchen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like it seems like you really trusted Cinco, and everyone's like, so how's butthole sex?
No. Yeah, no. Actually, my partner was like, "Yo, I feel like I'm sharing you with Cinco," because we spent a lot of time painting. Yeah,
She was
for
jealous.
real. Yeah, well, not jealous, but she was just like, "Damn, like I need my boyfriend back," But it was a real, yeah. Thank you. Penis opener, by the way. Zoom in on that. Zoom in on that.
I have a theme.
I know. I wash my hands very vigorously for some reason. I don't know why.
I have a soap that looks like a dick.
That looks like a penis. Yeah.
Yeah, like
it's hilarious.
People give.
I was like, wow, this is my hands were.
You just stroke that shit because
yeah,
clean
it
your
was
hands.
bubbly. It was, oh my God. I washed my hands.
People give those to me.
Who? Where is this coming from?
I don't know. They're just like I was traveling and thought of you and like something with dick.
Really?
This just comes
part of it. But it works. It works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of thinking about this because I've been painting dicks so much.
There's a name for that. I don't know the name, but there's, that it came out in Superbad.
It's just,
The movie Superbad, there was like a scene where the character kept drawing.
Somebody told me about this actually. Yeah. No, it was.
But that is a condition. Yeah.
It was not really referenced. But like somebody asked me, like, Minji, do you want to be remembered as a dick painter? I'm like, no. But like, if that dick painting goes to freaking Whitney,
yeah,
I'm fine.
Right.
But
there was a guy that he made a living painting portraits with his dick. And he would film it, and he was just weird, creepy old white guy, and he used it as a brush, and he would make a face and make it was a thing. It was a thing. The internet is a crazy place.
Yo.
But people watch, like, this is before Twitch and all that stuff, but like that became like a spectacle, because it is spectacle testicles.
I mean, I guess the question goes like, how much do we want fame?
I don't know.
Do you want fame?
To a degree, maybe not. I don't know.
I want fame, honestly. I think that's why I'm like doing this, like making content and everything.
Yeah.
But like, I guess one of the, I wouldn't say frustration, but yes, it is frustration. That I was like in the beginning when I first entered the art world, I was super fascinated. I was so happy to meet all these people, have made connections, and I would try so hard to be on different shows and everything, right? And then sometimes, yes, art gets sold, but barely. And you would get shows, but like I was just thinking about like, where does this lead me to? And then I got to try stand-up comedy, and stand-up comedy felt more like I'm advancing. But I felt like in the art world, I wasn't really feeling like I was advancing. I don't know if you have any takeaways take from that.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're talking about. I think that the first thing I would say is that I've heard a lot of people, and I was part of this. Sometimes I'm still a part of this, where I ask myself, why didn't I get picked for this show, or for this grant, or for this or this or that? As artists, we're always trying to find opportunities to show our art, right? That's what you should be doing. And so I think that a big thing I learned early on was, instead of asking why didn't I get chosen, or why am I not being a part of this, uh, you know, movement or show or whatever, you have to look inward. Like, what am I doing that's not being,
Satisfied?
no, what am I doing that's not being sought after? Like, what am I doing that is not, getting that phone call in the middle of the night, like, hey, we want you in the show. Like, what am I doing that's not helping me stick out? Or, instead of blaming everyone around me, I have to blame myself. So as a visual artist, instead of saying like, oh, I wasn't growing, or it wasn't going anywhere, you should ask yourself, like, what am I doing that's not making me grow? Or what are the choices I'm making that's not pushing me to the next thing? And sometimes it might be just that you're showing in the same space and you're in that same pool and you're not growing. You have to constantly be going to different shows, different bubbles. In New York City, at least, there's multiple bubbles and circles, and you can't just be happy and successful in one bubble thinking that that's the rest of your life. Like, there's so many bubbles happening.
Mic drop.
No, there's gonna be a bunch. Like, I'm serious. So I that's a real big thing for me, because I've heard people tell me, oh, I don't know why they didn't choose me for this show. But it's like, no, you got to be asking yourself why you weren't chosen for this show, or whatever opportunity it is. So I think that relates to comedy, to any profession. If you're working in a specific field and you're not getting to those places, or not working with those I don't know. You have to really ask yourself those questions. Don't blame it on the people around you.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm also trying to do, as in like I want to merge art and comedy in the most entertaining and artistic way.
I think you can. We talked about it earlier, and it sounds like a good idea, and it's very doable, I think.
The idea that we were talking about is that, what if like the comedians roast art, like in front of a crowd, and then that becomes an auction,
like a crit thing. Yeah. You said the roast, I said the auction. Let's do it.
Yeah. And another friend asked me, like, suggested that you could do like a paint and sip, but with comedy. So I think it's just more about like really experimenting, like you've been curating shows, right? And then that would give you so much experiences. But from my point of view, I feel like it's something that I really need to pioneer, because I haven't really seen so much around it. I one time did a show in Korea, and I wanted to make fun of my art. And basically, I would have a room full of my art, and everything would be jokes. Jokes were not funny, so that's why it's like not. It was not really highly publicized, but like, it is definitely something that I did want to do. I do want to do that.
It's something worth exploring, yeah. And I think that we were saying earlier that, I think it's nice to maybe have some comics or have a set, and the artwork is up, but then there's an intermission, because one thing that I really I'm not a huge fan of is when there's gallery shows or visual art, it gets overshadowed by all the entertainment, and there's no room and space for people to look at the walls and look at what all the work that people put into the work that's on the walls. So I think that it's good to take note on what works and what doesn't. And again, maybe that goes back to what you were saying about how you felt like you weren't growing as an artist or whatever. It's also around, the people that you're around. Yes, everyone could love you and be your friends, but if you're not getting challenged, if you're the smartest person in the room, all those cliches are very, very true. And you gotta throw yourself on that deep end, or and fall on your face. I get no's every day. I just don't talk about it. but I get no's every day from in my emails, in my face, like on the sidelines. Like this, the only way that I've grown is by throwing my net out. Like that's it.
But that also means you actively put yourself out there on the daily basis.
Yeah.
Therefore, you get no's on a daily basis. That
Yeah.
is so cool.
I wear it with pride because I think that that's the only way to learn about yourself and about like the market, the this, the that, what fill in the blank. But I think that if you're just sitting and blaming everyone around you, and if you're not doing anything actively, then it's the problem is you. I'm sorry.
Well, it never like crashed you though. Like you applied for this like amazing grant. You knew that you got it, like you didn't. Like it didn't like make you so sad and like I want to give up.
No.
Wow.
No, because
You're strong.
that's when you're doing something that you really love, and I think that the other day I was thinking about somebody who really loves their job. Let's say it's a barber. Let's say it's some a chef or a very demanding thing that somebody would be like, why is that their lifelong dream? But there are people that just love carpentry or love doing something creative with their hands, or love doing something that we see every day to day, but it's like, no, this is my passion. So I think when you find that passion, then you have to work towards it. But again, that's the difference between having a dream and having like goals and a passion and all that stuff. Because if you have a passion to start a business on XYZ, if you're not working towards that, then you're just dreaming at that point.
I'm just like really happy for you, as in like your dreams and passions and talent are well aligned.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, and it's only possible by being around positivity and not focusing on the negativity. Because if I focus on all the no's, I wouldn't be here. So yeah, you have to really be around positivity. And sometimes when I speak about positive stuff, people get offended and annoyed. I'm like, oh, so you that negative? Oh, you the problem? Oh, it's not me. Oh, you the problem? Oh, good. I'm happy that you exposed it because I was wondering, So yeah, you have to speak light, and dark will run away. When the lights turn on, the roaches run away. Like that's all I'm saying. And yeah,
lights could be scary because, like, like some people like romanticize being a broke artist, being a sad artist. And I'm like, no, I want to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
I want money. I want abundance in life, and I want to be creating in happy state.
Mm-hmm.
One time I was at like Washington Square Park, and this like guy is like, you want to be a real artist? You cannot be creating happy. And I'm like, fuck that shit. That's so why you're at Washington Square Park talking to me right now.
Were they an artist?
I guess. Like he had a website and a book or something,
I don't know. That's very weird, yeah. And don't let misery drag you down. And you'll be surprised. Like, some people, their attitudes bring them to high places, and then at the end of the day, we're not even talking about their art, right? So I just know that I choose not to move in that way, and I don't want to work with negativity. I don't want to work with people that are rude. It's possible to work in a very friendly, happy environment and make people happy through the arts and culture. It doesn't have to be like a cutthroat thing. It really doesn't. So I'm going to keep moving as much as I can. And yes, there's going to be people and places where they move their own way, but I choose not to copy that. That's something I'm not copying.
I wanted to bring the conversation to the variety shows that we briefly mentioned about, like, sometimes in Brooklyn,
a lot of times in Brooklyn,
that like people will put together shows and it say there's a variety show and have so much like good artwork up there on the wall, and then they don't even like put proper light to the art, and then you just put together a whole like performing arts. And I'm like, that is not cool, because art should be taking place with the same importance as other performing arts,
Mm-hmm.
But like, I think that's something that I was like really annoyed about so many times because while I do comedy, I am an artist, and then I do think that there should be fair chances and fair environment to highlight all the art forms that's around. If you call it a variety show.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I always like to try different things and try to be a part of different things.
Mm-hmm.
So I again I like to see what works and what doesn't. And if I see something that I feel is not serving the artist, then I'm not going to do it. Or if it's not serving me as an artist, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to go back to this business model. At the end of the day. So I think that whatever you want to achieve as, again, fill in the blank, you should be going to those things and seeing what other people are doing and seeing the bad things too, and implementing the good, saying, okay, I'm going to, do that in my own way. I'm not going to copy that because that doesn't seem right as an audience member. So it's about building yourself and what you envision and what you want to do. And, I think that some artists get trapped in this cycle and they think that that's the only way they can get shown because the big galleries are not showing them. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, but you have to seek it. You can't just expect somebody to just knock on your door and say, hey, I want you in my show. You need to expand and go to different places and see what works for you.
I mean, what do you envision for yourself then? Like, as an artist, what will be your goals?
I think that at this point, I don't have my own studio space, and I would love to do that because I like hosting. I like putting events. I like, getting people together. So having a space where I can work from and give space for other artists to show their work. It could even be musicians too. So that's something that I really envision for myself as a visual artist. And then again, as a curator, it just gives me more space to get creative and throw some ideas and bring people together. I think that as artists, all we need is a roof, and that's it. Just let us do what we got to do.
Another truth dropped.
Yeah, that's
you
it.
Just need a roof.
That's it. That's why the factory and all these famous New York things and scenes that we hear about is because there was a space for people to really get creative, and nobody was judging, nobody was policing it. So that's always a thing. And then Con Artist Collective, which was a wonderful space, and I grew a lot from this shared studio space. I met so many wonderful artists through that. That was a space where it was for artists by artists. We were all doing things. We were doing shows at least once a week. So that was fun because I was just creating and throwing my stuff out there and seeing what people thought, and learning about myself as an artist. So I think that if you are an artist that's trying to figure something out about yourself, or you want to excel or grow, whatever it is, you should join some kind of studio space, a shared studio space, not a cubicle, because you're not going to be growing in a cubicle. You got to be in a shared studio space where you're looking at people and people helping each other. God forbid you learn something from an artist that has nothing to do with your medium. So I love talking to photographers. I love, looking at sculpture. I love seeing things that are outside of my painting medium because I learn or get inspired from that, and that's how it should be, or music.
I think I love that space in Brooklyn. It's called Brooklyn Arcade.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I met so many good people there.
Yeah, it's a community. Yeah,
it's a great community, and then that's what I think that resonates so much because I learned so much from the artists that I met throughout the whole time I'm in New York, and hence the podcast. And I'm like, I want to share what I'm learning with other people, and hopefully to inspire them.
Yeah. If you look back on any historical moments in art or movements, there was a squad, and if everyone wants to talk about the names of Picasso and Monet and stuff, but there was a squad. They were rolling with a squad. There's a reason why impressionism and expressionism and abstract in New York and all these things. There was a squad of people that were making the art. You're just learning about the one that was sticking out, but they were moving in a cohort, and they were showing together and learning from each other, even stealing from each other. So like that's something that in this time right now, living right here in New York, we're all going to look back at this time and notice that, oh, my artist community was actively living and working and creating together. So yeah, don't come at me sideways.
I mean, what you said is we don't have to look so far. We just talked about the Andy Warhol, Keith Haring, Basquiat era. And everyone just like looks back and in that 1980s and we romanticize that. And I feel like, I don't know, it has always been my question. Like, who's the next Andy Warhol? Who's the next Basquiat?
Yeah, I don't know. We were talking about this earlier, like with music, and there's always going to be a next this, a next that, I think. Me personally, I think that for people to really want the next Basquiat, let's say, or the next Keith Haring, they're trying to find something that's already been done, and I think that I don't know, that's not realistic. Like, you're not letting somebody create because if you're the next Basquiat, that means that you're gonna just be trying your bestest and hardest to please the audience and paint in that way because you're filling in that need. I don't know. I don't think that these artists that have passed away would appreciate people just copying all their crap. So I do my best to try not to do that. I get compared sometimes to certain names and people, but I really don't. That's never in my forefront. That's why I always say graffiti is my forefather. And at the end of the day, these names that you just said, they started in graffiti too. So it's inevitable, especially in New York. So I think that it's me personally, I just want to be Bermeo, and wherever that takes me, wonderful, beautiful. And I think people should see like artists picking up where other artists left off instead of trying to say, oh, who's the next blank, because now you're just feeding a vanity thing at that point.
I guess my fascination around those names is the fame. I am unapologetically, let me be so real right now, I am unapologetically searching for fame.
Okay.
I mean, it's not more, I have such it's some of my things that I am super curious about. Like, as an artist, how much fame can you achieve? Like, for example, Yoko Ono.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or someone who not only leaves so much impact to the art world, but also having like a just being celebrated for what they create during their lifetime.
Yeah.
And I feel like being the next art star is something that I want to become.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, Yoko is a great artist. So if you want to be a good musician, you gotta be practicing your music.
Yeah, you gotta be good at it though. Yeah, you're right.
And because a lot of people just come out of nowhere and they wanna be good, or they're like, oh, I'm good. And like, all right, well, let's see. I think that that comes over time.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put in the work, and I think that that everybody has their own specific journey, at least in the visual art world. But again, this could go with so many other modes and niches, whatever you want to call it. But everyone has their own specific journey, and I think that if you're actively working towards that dream,
mm-hmm.
then it will come. But you have to be, working towards your art, because if you're just telling everybody I'm great, then it's like, all right, but where's the work? So I think that there was a quote that somebody said about I think it was Cy Twombly, and they were echoing something that he told somebody, and he said, be I'm paraphrasing, but it was basically saying, be off the grid as long as you can.
What is being off grid?
Off the grid meaning like be unknown as an artist for as long as you can, because now you're working towards your craft, so that when it's time for you to flourish, boom, then it's like, whoa, this person has been working so much, but we're just finding out about it now.
Yeah.
It's a little, it might be contradictory to what you're saying, but I think that some certain people who have found that world fame in visual art is like, no, you got to be working towards it, you got to work on it, and then when the mic drops, that's when the world is ready to see it. And for some people it happens in their 20s, for some people it happens in their 80s, so it depends on your own journey.
I don't think it's contradictory at all. For example, Chappell Roan, do you know her?
Maybe I've seen their work.
Oh my gosh, she's actually a musician, and like once you discover her, I get to learn so much of her universe that like, oh my god, she needed to be seen, but like she's been off grid for such a long time, and now everyone is amazed, and she's getting the credit that she deserves because because of all the craft that she has been mastering. And I think that's what you mean, and then I resonate.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to pivot towards social media, because everybody wants to be social media famous or get the certain likes and all this stuff, and they're equating the algorithm towards how good they are, but that's not true, because there's certain people that have a whole mess of followers and everything like that, but you and I might not like their art, and vice versa. There's probably some people that are doing amazing art and their numbers are super low. So I think that how about just put the phone away or put the camera away and just paint or draw or whatever it is. Like you don't have to film every aspect of your craft. Just do it for yourself, and then when you're ready to show it, or once in a while you can do it. But I always try to remind myself, social media exists for my art. My art doesn't exist for social media.
Mic drop.
Boom. We're gonna have a count at the end of this day. but that's something that I really believe, because I found myself chasing the next like trend, and I quickly realized, oh, this is a never-ending battle. Like there's gonna be a new trend. You watch a video today, and in 2 or 3 months from now, it's like, oh no, that's old. Like algorithm doesn't do that anymore. So it's a never-ending thing. And at the end of the day, we're not talking about art. We're not talking about growth. We're not talking about growing as an artist. So I think growing as an artist is what you do in your private time.
Growing as an in my mind, growing as an artist is about having a story and conveying the story in the most effective and entertaining manner.
Yeah.
That's how I believe it.
I believe it too. And some people are so good at spinning that story, and they're basic bitches. At the end of the day.
I am dead.
So it's like, it's about marketing too, in a sense, right? And I think that one thing about New Yorkers is that New Yorkers have seen way more shit than a lot of people have seen.
That's true.
That just moved here in the past 10 years. I'm just gonna put it out there, and we don't talk about it. Don't talk about it, be about it. So the thing is that, I really get aggravated, but I have to hold myself accountable as a native New Yorker, because there are people that are owning the story of New York, and they just got here. So this is really a part of my art too. This is why I'm talking about it. Yeah. So these are the things, the contradictory things that I try to talk about in my art, because I'm not gonna let somebody talk about what my city is about. I can't do that. And I'm the mean, obnoxious one. Like, all right, like, but I need to like hold up, wait a minute. And I think that as you know, loudmouth or rude or whatever New York has a rap for, um, we don't we don't talk about, you know, the things that we've seen enough, or because everyone is kind of just living their life. And I think that my story is a little more, you know, intricate than the stories that I've seen or heard that are in museums. I just gotta be honest.
Oh, the New
Fight
Yorker
me.
spoke.
Yeah. So but the thing is that, you know, the humbleness of like, oh, like I'm not gonna break waves or whatever. Like I think New Yorkers need to break out of that shell because you know, hip hop was made here and a lot of things were started up here.
Stand up to.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. And I just think that I I'm getting to this point where I can't be silent about my story. So things like this I appreciate because I'm able to talk about, you know, what I'm thinking.
Then what is your New York story?
Um, I'm an Ecuador Rican from Queens that grew up in a neighborhood that is now being talked about in food blogs, but there's still prostitution at night. And nobody talks about like the things that happen under the 7 train, um, away from the cameras. And
I don't know anything about that.
yeah, I know. It's okay. It's not your fault. And so you know, I think that I I see the contradictory stuff or people that you know. All right, back to me. Let me just stay. Don't get me started. The shades are coming up. Um, but I think that that for me, I'm just one of those people that grew up in a time in Queens that I had my own world, and all the things that were put in front of me led me to graffiti because I went to high school very close to 5 Points, which is a very important building that's not there anymore. And I used to go to this place that was full of graffiti and street art and murals and burners that were from graffiti writers from around the world, and they would come to Queens to this building and just paint. It was a free place where people could paint free range graffiti, and that's a reason that pulled me in that direction. And the people that I grew up with. We ended up doing that, and I ended up doing things on the 7 line. And I don't really talk in, I don't like to be public about it because that's not my identity, but I have to be honest and own where I come from. And yeah, give the flowers to all the crazy stuff that I saw. And that ends up coming out through the art. And that ends up being in my head or being written in my sketchbooks, and you know, that's the stuff that that drives me, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's actually really beautiful, and actually like ties up all the conversations that we had for today. We're actually about to end the pod. It has been a beautiful conversation.
Thank you.
And I ask this question to every guest that I have on. Why should people know about you? Or do you want to be known?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's your choice. You know, I'm, I'm, I know I'm not for everybody, and that's okay.
Wow, you're being Scorpio right now.
Yeah. And that is totally okay. But I think that that if I'm answering the question, why should people know about me? I think that if people want some local New York energy, and or if they want to really tap into being around artists or people that actually care about artists and other people, I think that that's something that I really want to promote in myself and in everything that I do, because I really don't like to make it all about me. And sometimes that's beneficial, sometimes that's not, but I really do like promoting other artists. So I think that that's something that if people want to learn more about other artists, it's worth checking me out, because I do like to share and put other shows and do other things aside from what I do. And I just want to keep connecting and keep representing where I'm from. That's it.
And that goes a long way, you know?
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Bermeo, thanks for coming onto the pod. Before we end, would you like to plug anything? How do people find you on social media? Or is there any shows coming up?
Yeah, I think no matter what time you see this or hear this, it could be in 2055. I don't care. I just want to. Yeah, I'm serious.
Let them live for like 30 years.
Yeah. You know, the internet. You know, I think that the best thing to do is just to go to either adrianbermeo.com or Bermeo NYC on the social medias. Instagram is what I use now, and that's the best way to find out any new shows. And I would love to just sell my art to people that want some local New York stuff in their homes, and even do commissions. That's something that I've been opening my mind to. So I want to connect with more people that want to see something graffiti, funky, abstract.
All right. Thank you, Bermeo. And listeners, come back to us next week. And thank you so much, Bermeo.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Peace.
Peace.